For patients who have been on Wegovy for more than a year, have lost weight, and then watched the scale stall, the options changed this week. On April 15th, 2026, GoodRx added Wegovy HD, the new 7.2 milligram injection of semaglutide, at a self-pay price of $399 per month. That makes 3 nationwide ways to buy the stronger dose without going through insurance, for patients who hit a plateau on the standard 2.4 milligram dose and were told there was no higher dose to try. There is now a higher dose. The ceiling on injectable Wegovy moved with it. The data pointing to this moment came from Novo Nordisk itself. On January 17, 2025, the company announced top-line results from a trial called Step Up, showing that a 7.2 milligram dose of semaglutide delivered about 21% average weight loss, more than the 2.4 milligram version that has been on the market since 2021. Detailed data was presented at the American Diabetes Association meeting in June 2025, and the full results were published in The Lancet Diabetes and Endocrinology in November 2025. From that point on, the open questions were whether the FDA would clear the higher dose and when patients would be able to fill a prescription. The FDA answered the first question on March 19, 2026, approving Wegovy HD under its Commissioner's National Priority Voucher Pilot Program. Wegovy HD is the 4th drug cleared under that program and the first GLP-1 receptor agonist. FDA Commissioner Martin Makary said at the time, "The new FDA is moving with unprecedented efficiency on products that advance national priorities." Novo Nordisk's CEO Mike Dousdar framed it in terms of the franchise's history, saying Wegovy had transformed the lives of many people living with obesity since its 2021 launch. Novo Nordisk answered the second question on April 7, 2026, when it announced that Wegovy HD was available nationwide. The product is made and packaged at the company's facility in Clayton, North Carolina, and distributed through more than 70,000 U.S. pharmacies, NovoCare Pharmacy, and select telehealth providers. The self-pay price was set at $399 per month. Commercially insured patients under the Wegovy savings offer can pay as little as $25 per month if they qualify. On April 15, 2026, at 9 a.m. Eastern, GoodRx announced that the 7.2 milligram dose was on its platform at the same $399 per month. A 2-month supply is listed at $798 and a 3-month supply at $1,197. GoodRx's president and CEO, Wendy Barnes, said in the press release, "Pharmaceutical innovation is moving quickly to meet the evolving needs of patients, and access has to keep pace. Wegovy HD is a strong example of how manufacturers are expanding options to support patients at different stages of treatment." Novo Nordisk's Ed Chinka, Senior Vice President of Marketing and Patient Solutions, added that the goal was to give patients the right option at the right time in their treatment. The trial data behind the approval is worth laying out in detail. The Step Up trial enrolled 1,407 adults with a body mass index of 30 or higher without diabetes. Participants were randomized in a 5-to-1-to-1 ratio. 1,005 people received the 7.2 milligram dose, 201 received the 2.4 milligram dose, and 201 received placebo. The trial ran 72 weeks. The average participant was 47 years old, weighed about 248 pounds at the start, had a BMI of 39.9, and in about 3/4 of cases, was a woman. On the higher dose, mean weight loss was 20.7% when measured as if everyone stayed on treatment, and 18.7% when measured regardless of whether they stayed on. The 2.4 milligram group lost 17.5% under the first measure and 15.6% under the second. Placebo came in at 2.4% and 3.9%. The gap widens at the milestone thresholds. In Step Up, 33.2% of people on the 7.2 milligram dose lost at least 25% of their body weight. On the 2.4 milligram dose, 16.7% hit that mark. On placebo, no one did. 89% of patients on the higher dose achieved at least 5% weight loss, compared with 38% on placebo. A parallel trial in people with obesity and type 2 diabetes called Step-Up T2D enrolled about 512 adults and showed 14.1% mean weight loss on the 7.2 milligram dose. Lead Step-Up investigator Sean Wharton of the Wharton Medical Clinic in Canada said the data may offer another option to people who do not attain their weight goals. W. Timothy Garvey at the University of Alabama at Birmingham, who was not part of the trial, said the outcomes could reshape healthcare professionals' expectations about what outcomes are possible. The efficacy comes with a tolerability note that anyone considering this dose should understand. Gastrointestinal side effects, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, constipation, occurred in about 71% of people on the 7.2 milligram dose, compared with about 61% on the 2.4 milligram dose. Overall treatment discontinuation due to adverse events was similar between the two doses, at around 5%. The side effect that rose most with the higher dose was dysesthesia, an altered skin sensation. In the main Step-Up trial, 22% of people on 7.2 milligrams reported it, versus 6% on 2.4 milligrams and 0.3% on placebo, about 4 times the rate of the lower dose. The pricing sits in a broader context. Standard Wegovy 2.4 milligrams carries a list price of about $1,349 per month. At that list price, a year of treatment runs more than $16,000. The $399 per month self-pay price for Wegovy HD is $50 a month higher than the $349 self-pay rate for the standard 2.4 milligram maintenance dose, a $50 premium for triple the dose. The starting 0.25 milligram dose is $199 a month for new self-pay patients. Wegovy pills run from $149 a month to $299 a month depending on dose, though the 4 milligram pill promotional price of $149 ends on April 15, 2026, and rises to $199 from that point forward. Commercially insured patients on any of these products can reach as little as $25 a month through the savings offer. Another pricing change has already been announced. On February 24, 2026, Novo Nordisk said it will cut Wegovy's list price to $675 a month starting January 1, 2027. It has not been specified publicly whether Wegovy HD is included in that reduction. For patients already on the 2.4 milligram dose, the shift is concrete. Wegovy HD is not a starting dose. The FDA labeling requires patients to have tolerated the 2.4 milligram dose for at least 4 weeks and still need additional weight reduction. That creates a built-in step before anyone can access the stronger version, even when paying cash. Novo Nordisk has framed Wegovy HD specifically as an option for patients who might otherwise consider bariatric surgery. For a patient who has been on Wegovy for a year, seen results, and stalled, there is now a higher dose to discuss with a provider, along with 3 distinct self-pay channels at the same $399 price: Novo Care Pharmacy, GoodRx, and select telehealth partners. For a patient who has never started a GLP-1 drug, Wegovy HD does not change the entry point. The starting dose remains 0.25 milligrams of semaglutide, priced at $199 a month self-pay. For patients using compounded semaglutide because of cost, Wegovy HD does not address that price gap. At $399 a month for branded semaglutide, self-pay remains the dominant cost barrier. For Medicare beneficiaries, weight loss indications are not covered as of April 2026, though the Medicare GLP-1 bridge demonstration begins July 1st, 2026, and CMS has said all formulations of Wegovy will be included at a $50 monthly copay for eligible beneficiaries. Only 13 states cover GLP-1s under Medicaid for weight loss. As of April 15, 2026, no major pharmacy benefit manager, including CVS Caremark, which has preferred Wegovy over Zepbound since July 2025, has publicly announced separate formulary tiering for Wegovy HD. The competitive picture has shifted as well. Eli Lilly's Zepbound has held the lead in the branded U.S. weight loss market, with head-to-head data showing 20.2% weight loss versus 13.7% for standard Wegovy. Wegovy HD's 20.7% figure closes that efficacy gap on paper, though cross-trial comparisons are not a direct substitute for head-to-head testing. Novo Nordisk's Executive Vice President Jamie Miller argued that no other weight loss medicine has been studied to show superiority to Wegovy HD. As of April 15, 2026, a 7.2 milligram injectable dose of semaglutide is available nationwide at $399 a month self-pay through NovoCare, GoodRx, or select telehealth providers, or as little as $25 a month with commercial insurance. It is available only to patients already stabilized on the 2.4 milligram dose. Dysesthesia occurs in about 1 in 5 people at this dose. How the major pharmacy benefit managers will cover it and whether it will be part of the announced January 2027 list price reduction has not been answered publicly. The Medicare GLP-1 bridge, which includes all formulations of Wegovy, is scheduled to begin on July 1, 2026.